Hello, everybody. It is now 8 o'clock my time, and I am in California, so that means it is 8 o'clock Pacific time. Thank you if you plan on joining me. I really do appreciate that, and I don't have anyone online yet. So, actually, I think I have one person online now. Great, awesome, love it. But we've got a few things to talk about today. I've got to talk about the election results just a little bit, and there's a couple things that came up that I really wanted to bring up. Personal experience here in California. I've got to talk about that a little bit. But for example, Laura Trump. I just saw a headline on this. Laura Trump could run for Senate. So I don't think we have, even if Donald Trump does finally end up losing this or conceding the presidential elections, I don't think we've seen the last of the Trumps. Could be a bad thing, could be a good thing. I don't know. You make the call on that. But if you see this live or if you see a recorded video version of this, I do want to ask one thing specifically, please. I'm really trying to grow my YouTube channel, so I'm trying to do this pretty regularly. My travel sometimes does get the best of me, and my daily shows don't make it all the time. This week was an example of that. Had a pretty decent-sized dealership to train in. It took a lot out of me. It's taken a lot out of me, and the time change, not to mention that 2-hour difference from Texas to California makes a huge difference. I don't know if you know that or not, but it does. So what I'm asking you, if you like what I am doing, if you want to help support me, I've got a few ways to do that. I've got a Cash App link in the description of this video. You can drop me $1 or $2 if you want. It doesn't, if you do, great. I would absolutely love it. I've got a little merch here that I've also signed up and put out there. But the best thing that you can do to help support my channel would be to help by smashing that subscribe button, sharing this video link, signing up for alerts. So each and every time I upload a video, I upload videos pretty regularly using this little thing right here. I do mini-sodes pretty much daily. And I like the mini-sode version, the YouTube version of that, 60 seconds or less. It's kind of like what I think is going to replace TikTok eventually. May not have all the algorithms that they have, but I like it better than that. Don't get me wrong, TikTok is fun, and that's a whole new topic in itself because that might be going away. There's other options out there, but I like this YouTube thing. So you can see each and every time I post a video. You can see each and every time I go live. Try to do this regularly. On Thursdays, I do go live every Thursday. I started doing that just recently, and it's going to be at 8 o'clock wherever I am. And if this is your first time joining me, if this is the first video you see of me, I know everybody else might be tired of hearing this by now, but just so you know, I travel the country. That's my full-time job. This isn't my full-time job by any means. This doesn't pay the bills. This is just something that I do to help get your voice, get my voice out there, to kind of bring to light stuff that you may not know about and maybe address some concerns that you have. I do have some big eyes on me. For those of you who don't know, who just started following me again, back when Kamala Harris was still running for president, I got a cease and desist from her. This was back in July, not this July just passed, but last July, because of something that I did the July before that. You see, when I first started doing these videos, making content, I was in the process and I was going to run for Congress in my local area in 2022. I opted out. I decided to not do that because, quite honestly, I wasn't prepared. There's a lot of stuff out there that has to happen for that, specifically money. It's a lot of money, at least $500,000 at the very minimum. No candidate that has run successfully in my area, all of the districts in the Houston area, no one has spent less than $500,000, and I just don't have those kind of pockets, and I don't have that kind of backing yet. Now, I do still plan on doing something, running for something in 2022. It's going to be something local, though. I'm thinking city council, something along that line, because I do want to be a voice, and I think the best way for me to be a voice is to start small. If I do make it to Congress eventually after that, great, awesome. And it'll be because of you guys, you helping me out. The best way you can do that, subscribing to my channel, hitting that bell, looking for my content, whether it's on here, it's on Rumble, Parler, Twitter, whatever social media is out there. I am doing my best to make that. Now, there's a lot, and I'm a one-man process. I don't have these big, huge productions like Joe Rogan, although I've been referred to as a Mexican Joe Rogan, go figure. But I don't have that kind of pull yet. I do have one friend that has been helping me out a whole lot. And I gotta give a shout out to him, to Trey the producer. He runs a company called APR, which means always press record. Go check him out, and I'll drop a link here in the description. Once I get his link, I got to do all that. I failed you. Sorry about that, Trey. My bad. But dude has been helpful. He's got me on the APR channels on Roku, on Amazon Prime. So gotta love this guy. Great guy. He does a lot of great work for local guys, the mangrove community. He helps them out a whole lot too, and that is a great organization. If you are in the Houston area and you're looking for a way to help out the mangrove community, go check them out. Great way to get involved. My name is Andrew Alvarez, and I'm the Latino Conservative. Though I am conservative, I do see eye to eye on a lot of points that maybe not be so conservative. And I'm going live right now. I'm stumbling over words. I do apologize. This is my second time of many, by the way. And but let's talk about something that's going on right now. Laura Trump, good old Laura Trump. That's Donald Trump's daughter. There is word out that she could possibly run for Senate in 2022. The New York Times on Thursday reported that the North Carolina native has been telling associates she is considering a run for U.S. Senate in her home state in 2022. GOP Senator Richard Burr has announced he'll be retiring that year. Very honorable. Senators retiring. Congress people retiring. I think there should be term limits on that, which is something that I would definitely push for, and I'm going to start on that at the local level. But he's going to retire. And though the state has been trending Democrat in recent years, Laura Trump could, pull the Donald Trump that he did in 2016, and could run for the Senate as a Republican and take that seat. She could very well do that. Those Trumps, they got some pull. They do have some pull out there, and they have some money, and they kind of make sense every now and then. It's kind of scary. Who would have thought that a Trump could actually make some sense? So Laura Trump could possibly do that. Laura Trump served as a passionate advocate for the president during the re-election campaign, and she is popular with her state. So why not? Why not run for Senate? She and her husband, Eric Trump, currently live in Westchester, New York, and their two children, including daughter Caroline, who is named for the state. She's very charismatic. She understands retail politics well and has a natural instinct for politics. Trump campaign's advisor, Mercedes Schlapp, who also traveled with Laura Trump during the campaign, told the New York Times, in North Carolina, in particular, she's a household name, and people know her. She worked really hard on the campaign and was very involved in a lot of decisions throughout. So not only is she popular in the state, she's a nice person. She's a likable person, but she also knows how to campaign. She knows the retail politics of it. And retail politics, my understanding of that is basically similar to retail sales. It's basically getting your name out there, getting people to know who you are, and getting people to like you enough to come to you in sales. But she could face GOP competition, including Representative Mark Walker, whom the president himself has encouraged to seek the seat. Others include former Governor Pat McCrory, North Carolina Speaker of the House Tim Moore, and former gubernatorial, I can never say that word right, nominee Dan Forrest. The president's current chief of staff, Mark Meadows, is a former congressman from that state and could also toss his hat into the ring. There's a lot of stuff going out there. These Trumps are making some noise. And it's not so much just Donald Trump. Laura Trump's out there right now. You know who I would really like to see run for something is Kayleigh McEnany. Her and Laura Trump, man, if they were to get together, that would be a powerhouse. Let me tell you. One, I've kind of got a secret crush. My girlfriend might not like me for this, but I kind of got a secret crush on Kayleigh McEnany just because how she talks. She is fluent with her words. She is intelligent, and she's out there. She knows her stuff. She knows what the people want. And those two together, I think if they're to run together for something, eventually, I'm not saying president, vice president, but if they're to go out there and do something together, my goodness, they would be unstoppable. Speaking of Trump, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the election results. Y'all tired of hearing about them yet? Quite honestly, I've seen kind of a little bit of a die down on those. Now, there's a lot of lawsuits still going on, a lot of them. Georgia actually just certified the vote for Biden. Detroit, the county that Detroit is in, Wayne County, I believe it is, they made a sudden stop and said, we're not going to certify, but then did a 180 and said that they are going to certify the results. But what they also did, Wayne County officials said that they encourage other counties and other precincts to stop on the certification process. Now that in itself is huge. It's huge, ginormous. Or let me see, hold on. Let me see if I can get this right. It's huge, with the Y. The reason I say that is because they realize that something was awkward. Something was awkward with that. What could it be? Could it be some of these discrepancies that they have, or irregularities, or whatever the term that they want to use, that's going on with all of these elections, the account specific? In fact, in Georgia, there were memory cards that were found from the scanning software that were loaded, and they didn't have, they weren't counted. They weren't counted. Those votes were primarily for Donald Trump. Now, there's also cases, obviously, going on in Pennsylvania. You got Philadelphia area, you got the Pittsburgh area. Those are still going on. Giuliani is still working on those. And I think eventually the whole voter fraud thing that you hear going on may not necessarily go away, but there's going to be enough irregularities that you may start seeing stuff like states use the state legislators giving their votes and stepping in and doing what is actually constitutional. That's the way the framers of the Constitution put it out there. The legislators decide the vote. Pardon me for a second. I am going to pop a top. Not sponsored at all, but man, these things right here, hey, Bang, if you want to sponsor me, I would love it. Just give me some free bangs. This right here, the candy apple one, oh my goodness. I had one earlier today that was lemon drop sweet tea. Man, it was phenomenal. In fact, I'm going to get another one tomorrow before I leave. So I don't think it's the fraud part that they're going to be looking at. Now, was there voter fraud? Absolutely. There was absolutely. You've got professional athletes that came out and said, hey, I didn't vote. I chose not to vote. Yet they have votes counted for them. You have people voting from the grave. You've got a gentleman named Dallas Jones from Dallas, Texas, one of Joe Biden's campaign managers in Texas, who was recently arrested, as in they had enough evidence of voter fraud to go out and arrest this cat and say, we're charging you with voter fraud. which is a felony. You've got postal workers caught on tape dumping boxes of mail in trash with ballots in there. Guess who those were for? The votes were for. Now, I'm not saying that they opened the ballots. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm not saying that that is widespread. But that postal worker, he could possibly go to jail. That's a felony. You know, the any type of mail tampering or anything like that is a federal offense. It's a felony. He could go to jail, regardless of if there's a million ballots in there for Donald Trump or no ballots at all, and just like Publishers Clearinghouse or your auto warranty is expiring. Just dumping the mail is a federal offense, and that guy committed a federal offense. He's a felon now. So there's a lot of stuff right there that's still going on with these elections. And we still got a month, at least a month, before it's over. And that's when the certification deadlines are. I believe the date is, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the date is December 14th, when it's all supposed to be said and done. So we still got some time. Ooh, let's see who commented here. Trump dynasty. Trump is the only one press we've had in my lifetime. I'm 33, who's actually risked his life and fortune for gunning for the people. And you are absolutely right. Trump isn't a politician. He'll tell you that right out front. And thanks for that comment, by the way. But Trump is not a politician. He's not. But he is standing up for the people. I think all the work that the media has done against Trump is going to come bite them. They're going to be backpedaling. CNN was going down. CNN was worthless. You know, their stocks were horrible until Donald Trump. What's going to happen when Donald Trump isn't president anymore? They're shooting themselves in the foot. They're not going to have anyone else to cover. They're not going to have any other articles. You're going to have comedians, many comedians out there whose entire platform was built off of Donald Trump. Guess what kind of material they have now? There's one comedian in particular that it hit me right here. Now, understand why he did this. There was a lot of bad press about the wall. A lot of it. There was a lot of bad press about Donald Trump wanting to deport illegal immigrants. Tons of it. There still is. But that narrative stuck. You know, that comedian. You know, I've kind of taken it back a little bit. I've put it here because he's still funny. George Lopez. He built so much of his platform just off of anti-Trump. Have you seen The View lately? Those ladies there, they oh my goodness. It's sickening. Whoopi Goldberg, Julie Bear, what have you say her name. What are they going to do after Donald Trump is out of office? They're not going to have any more material. Them hating him so much and trying to get him out of office so much has made them switch their platform from being truly comedians. Whoopi Goldberg, I love her. I love her material. Pre-The View, I should say. Her stuff now is just like so anti-Trump. It's not funny. I mean, it's sickening. I can joke about it with everybody. In fact, some of my more conservative friends have actually questioned me on that, on why I'm a Trump supporter, but then I'll throw a joke out there anti-Trump because you know what? I can joke. You know, I get that. I don't take offense to stuff like that. It's humor. But if you build your platform on that, each and every bit of your life on that, on anti-Trump, it gets old. It's like the kid out there saying the same joke over and over and over again in high school. That's his one thing that he did. In fact, I'll put it this way, SpongeBob. There's this one episode with SpongeBob where he rips his pants and he gets a crowd laughing. Pretty soon, he starts his own stand-up comedy show. SpongeBob, mind you, starts his own comedy show, and it is solely based off of him ripping his pants. He finally tries to do something different, and the crowd is silent. You get crickets. Crickets. But he goes back to his ripping his pants, and then the crowd burst out in tears laughing again. But eventually, they stop liking that. And I think that's what's going to happen. That's what's happening right now with the media. They want so bad for Trump to get out that they don't see that they're actually shooting themselves in the foot. By the way, the media is also calling Joe Biden the president-elect. Fake news. And I'm not saying just because the elections are in dispute right now, but I'm saying fake news because constitutionally, the president-elect isn't officially the president-elect until after the votes are certified. But you don't see Twitter or Facebook blocking that. You can look it up yourself. It's in the Constitution. I've got the book. In fact, I just forgot to bring it this time, but I've got a book. I've got the Constitution, a physical copy of it, and it's in there. The president-elect is not the actual president-elect until the votes are certified, which I believe, again, is going to happen December 14th. They will only praise the new Joe regime, turning a blind eye to all hypocrisy, the same thing they did with Obama administration, 3,000 illegal drone strikes, harsh whistleblowers. Now, this is one thing, you whistleblowers, you brought up a key word there. Whistleblowers. If somebody whistleblows on Joe Biden while he's already inaugurated, after he's already president, and they say, hey, I've got video proof of him committing actual voter fraud, whatever it is. If there's a whistleblower at that point in time, after the transition has been made, what happens? Does Joe Biden get impeached and Kamala Harris take over? Or are those elections deemed illegitimate and Donald Trump come back into the office? I don't know. I'm assuming it's going to be the first one. And I don't like that. I can see that being a possibility because that would be Kamala Harris is the president and then Nancy Pelosi is the vice president. Y'all know my feelings on that. I've already said that time and time again. You get two people from the same state, from the same city, and they are going to kind of jack stuff up. They're both from San Francisco. Their politics there are crazy. You can go poop on the sidewalk and not go to jail. And I've got my sister blowing me up on text message real quick. I've got to let her know that I am okay. Let's see. My sister loves me, by the way. I got to let her know, though. Otherwise, she will not like me. So you've got Nancy Pelosi from San Francisco. You've got Kamala Harris from San Francisco. Politics in this country would be crazy. Joe Biden, in all actuality, I don't think he would intentionally do something bad to the country. I can see, though, Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi really screwing things up if they were to make it there. I see that. That's my personal opinion. I may be totally wrong. Lord knows I've been wrong in the past. But that could be the issue with this. One thing that I do question, Donald Trump has all these lawsuits going on, different states that could potentially flip the election results. I think Joe Biden and Kamala Harris know this and know that there is a potential for that to happen. When President Obama was elected president, he resigned immediately from the Senate. Immediately. I won the elections, no longer the senator. Kamala Harris hasn't done that yet. She's still an acting sitting senator. Even though she has changed her Twitter handle to Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. She hasn't resigned from Senate yet, so she is still technically a senator, and that's it. So about my trip to California, I got to see a couple cool things. My mom grew up here, so I got to go see some of her old stomping ground. I was telling my sister and my family, I can feel the residual hell that she was raising when she was younger. My mom was a hell raiser. She loved her to death. But I got to go see a couple things. I got to go see where my grandparents are buried. I got to see an iconic tree here that if you've ever seen that movie Blood In, Blood Out, Bound by Honor, that El Pino tree, I got to go see that. It was really cool. I felt like I was in Mecca when I was by myself. However, part of being a road warrior is I got to go to different stores to get something done, like all over the country. When I was in Iowa, no problems. Walked in, walked out, I was good. And, of course, I wear my mask everywhere. I'm diabetic, and I'm real concerned about my own health. So I got to take care of myself. I hate to say this, I don't care about what that person does. They can do whatever they want. I got to watch out for my kid, for me, because I've got my kids to watch out for. I've got my girlfriend that's counting on me too, to be there for her. I've got a bunch of people counting on me, so I've got to be healthy. I don't mind going out in public because I'm masked up. But when I came down here, I had to go make a couple runs. And one thing I had to go get some memory for my laptop from Best Buy. I got a little taste of how China is. And that's the best way I can describe it, is I had to stand outside in line. Okay, I get it. I kind of felt like it was Black Friday and I was waiting for the big TVs to go on sale at Walmart. There was a line outside. They the person there said, "Okay, what are you looking for?" The person in front of me said, "iPads." Okay, wait here. The person behind me said, "Cell phones." I said, "I need some RAM for my laptop." So I had to wait for their computer guy to be available. Okay, I get it. I understand. They want social distance. I get that. 100%. 100%. I get that. I'm okay with that. They're watching out for themselves. They've got a staff that they got to watch out for. And they're watching out for their customers. I get that. I get there. They said, okay, you can only go here. Go step on the number 1 while you wait. Did this, stepped on my number 1, twiddled my thumbs a little bit, sat there. And then I said, okay, I got the RAM I needed. Then I said, okay, can I go look around? No. I kind of wanted to see, some other equipment maybe, I need a new light, new camera maybe. No, you're not allowed to. Whoa. They were telling me I cannot go look at other stuff. I tried to go eat at a restaurant. This is who I really feel bad for. Although they got it down to almost an art here, but I feel bad for them. The chains are doing good. The chain restaurants are doing great. They've got the money backing to support this, but you can't eat inside of a restaurant anymore. California, what's it called? California Fish Grill. Highly recommended by the dealership that I'm working at today or this week. Highly. And I wanted to go try it out. But after work, it gets tiring. What I do is it's a little bit of this challenge up here. So I went straight to the California Fish Grill after work, and I was going to go get me some fish tacos, something. They suggested the salmon salad or whatever. I just wanted to go get something and sit down and eat. Maybe have a glass of wine with it, something, a beer. I don't know, just something. I just wanted to unwind before I got to the hotel room, and it was time to go to sleep because I got out of there kind of late. It was a big dealership, one of the biggest in the country. John Doe, get on Parler. I am on Parler. Look up the Texas Latino Conservative. I am on Parler. So go look me up there. And in fact, I'm going to put a link to this live video on Parler. I just haven't done it yet. But I'm trying to find a place to go eat. And I couldn't. I had to get it and leave. I don't want to sit down in the hotel and eat. I mean, I do that a lot of times too because I'm a road warrior, but I couldn't. I couldn't eat at the restaurant. They had 2 tables set up outside, and they said those 2 tables are taken. Everything else was, reserved for social distancing. And again, I get that 100%. But the governor over here in California has locked down California so much that these mom and pop restaurants are not surviving. They're not. They're going under. They're dying because of this. And you get places like Texas, where I'm from, we're still open. And last I looked, they are doing better than than California. Go figure. And the thing with that is to kind of tie into that, even Senator Rand Paul, he's a Republican, obviously, he's conservative, but he says the US government should push hard to get a coronavirus vaccine released. And Dr. Anthony Fauci is trying to slow down the process, saying the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease wants to keep us masked until the end of time. And I get that. Masks are important. They help slow the spread, but they're not 100%. I've done tests myself. This was early. And people have mixed feelings. And let me pause right there. Time out. People have mixed feelings on these masks. I wear them to protect myself. If I can keep myself 1% more safe, I'm doing okay. Because me being 1% more safe is also being 1% more safe for somebody else. I get that 100%. But they also say the masks aren't working. Social distancing is not working. What is my proof? The numbers. And this is Senator Rand Paul. The numbers are going through the roof still. And Paul said this Thursday, so that's today. He said this to Newsmax. The numbers are still going through the roof. I know this. I know this personally. I know people who have this disease, this pandemic, whatever you want to call it. I know people who's got this crap. I know that they also were masked up. They were. So do the masks really work? To some extent, yes. To some extent, no. I'm not going to say don't wear them at all. Please don't say this. Don't think that in YouTube. Don't say that I'm trying to say don't wear a mask because they don't work. I'm saying wear your mask, but there's still the curve still hasn't happened yet. We're still on the incline again. People are trying to use different governments, different governors are trying to shut down their states during the holidays. And I'm not talking about just publicly. I'm talking about limiting your households. They're trying to limit the number of people you have at your house to celebrate Christmas, to celebrate Thanksgiving. And to me, these are times where people get together. They get together, they give praise to God or to their God or whoever they want to give praise to. So they're taking away our freedom of religion even by shutting down even household gatherings. Why? We need that vaccine. He goes on to say, I think it's ready to go for those willing to sign an informed consent and voluntarily take it. I think millions of people would sign up and we would quickly get to a large enough number that people would be more satisfied with safety, and it would get out there. Like the vaccine would get out there. Fauci's talking about April. That's a long way away still. That's almost half a year, 6 months. If the vaccine is out there right now, why not take it now? I understand we got to get some approved. You got Pfizer and Moderna that have had vaccines that have a 95% effectiveness rate. Even those 5% that weren't as effective, that's a whole lot better than zero vaccine. And I know some people are going to be out there complaining, say, no, I won't take this. I'm not going to take it. It's the mark of the beast. No, it's not. It's not the mark of the beast. If you want to get biblical with it, the mark of the beast is a marking on your right hand or on your forehead. It's an actual mark. The biblical scholars say that the terms that they use in the Greek refer to it as being maybe even a tattoo. Now, if they start saying we're gonna inscribe this saying that you got the vaccine here or here, no, I'm out. I'm out. But a vaccine, it's just like the flu vaccine. It's like the vaccines that you get when you're a kid. You got your chickenpox vaccine, your measles, mumps, rubella, diphtheria, all that good stuff. It's a vaccine. I think it's going to be important for us to take that vaccine. I'm going to sign up for it. I will sign up for it as soon as it becomes available. I'm going to go out there and take it because I need to protect myself. And as much as I travel, I need to make sure that if I get in contact with anybody else, that I don't harm them either. I would hate to harm somebody else because of something that I did or neglected to do. So let's look at something else real quick. Oh, by the way, I know there's only one viewer on here right now, but this will be available recorded. I do have a shirt that I designed. I love design. I consulted with a few people just to make sure everything was still kosher on it. And I think you'll like it too. I put that link down in my bio as well. It's a link. It's a shirt that I call Unity Before Division. It's a great concept. Go look at it. If you like it, great. Leave me some feedback on that. Or if you have an idea that you want me to throw out there, I'm pretty good with Photoshop. I'm pretty good at graphic designing too. I could throw some stuff together real quick. Let me know. So let's see. More back on the elections. There is this software out there. I'm not going to say the name. Y'all know the name. I'm not going to say the name just for different reasons. But that software has come into question a lot. One of the CEOs, the owners of this specific software, has come on record saying, and this is prior to the 2020 elections, that he could change 1 million votes like that. Hold on, I didn't do that right. Let's see, let me try it again. Like that, there you go, it's a little bit better. This same software was also used in Venezuela. And that president hasn't lost an election since, even though the people there despise him. Even though the people are leaving Venezuela faster than people are leaving California to Texas to get away from him because they don't like him. But he's still winning these elections. He has had officers in his military come on record as well saying that there's some shenanigans going on with that. How can we trust as a country this Canadian software that has already had issues in Venezuela on record? How can we let that affect our votes, our voice? Think about that for a second. I mean, if something doesn't work and we know it right off, in any private business, if we know that a certain software has fallacies to it, we don't use it, at least not on that level. Shouldn't at all. If you do, that's your fault. You're dumb. So how can we let something like that affect our voice? It has really, and I'm going to say this word, it has ruined not the Electoral College, but it has ruined the legitimacy of the elections. The Electoral College is actually a great system. You've got people on the far left that are trying to get rid of it and trying to just say, we need to use just a popular vote. And I'm sorry, I'm missing some of these chats here. Illinois, hey, Illinois. I was actually in Illinois not that long ago, go figure. But if we use a software that is messed up, for lack of better terms, to run our elections, the people in charge of putting that software in place, they should be fired. They should be held. They should be criminally charged. That is neglect. That is blatant neglect. And the Electoral College, what that does is it prevents states like Montana, for example, prevents them from not being heard. Because with the Electoral College, what that does is it makes everybody's voice equal. Kinda. You got people on the far left that are trying to get rid of it, to trying to say, we only need to hear the popular vote. What that means is people in Illinois, people in New York, in Chicago specifically, people in LA, people in Houston, those would be the most important people in the country. So someone who is running for a big office, like the president, would only need to really campaign and win those votes. I know there's people that are saying out there, land doesn't vote. However, you get a big plot of land with very few people. Those few people matter just as much as the people that are in New York City, in Brooklyn, in Los Angeles, in Jacksonville, in Miami, in Houston, in Chicago. Their voice is just as important. And this Electoral College that people are already trying to get rid of helps that. You also got people on the far left that are trying to get rid of the Constitution altogether. That's just insane. It is totally insane. So let's talk about good news. Something good that happened. I'm going to call up my friend. I'm going to say her first name, Tiffany. Good friend of mine. Love her to death. She's one of my best friends in the world right now. For a long time. Not just right now. But my hometown in Victoria. And I've got another friend out there in this area. Longtime friend, known this guy since I was, like 8, 9. We used to play baseball together, Little League baseball together. His brother and my brother played baseball together. But Jody and Joey, that's the couple. I'm not going to say their last names, just security reasons. They all participated in what did they call it? They cleaned the South Side. The South Side of Victoria, it's been, I want to say, run down. Not run down as in people, but just, housing wise. There's been some messes there, specifically, since two things happened. We had Hurricane Claudette and Hurricane Harvey. That part of town never really recovered from Harvey. And there was a lot of old pieces of houses all over the place. Insurance companies didn't go there and do what they're supposed to do. In fact, I remember the house I lived in specifically, when the hurricane hit, they were telling us that they tried to call, but they didn't. No missed calls, no emails. We had an insurance claim in. I was in one of the nicer parts of town. Nothing. Now, granted, all we needed was a fence and our roof, not replaced, but just repaired. Had a few repairs we needed to make on the roof. But they took forever. Forever. It was kind of upsetting because we saw Houston. Now, I lived south of Houston. I lived in Victoria at this time. We saw Houston getting all of the repairs done, but places like Victoria, Rockport, that took direct hits, got hit by Harvey first, they didn't see the adjusters out there for almost a year sometimes. The next hurricanes were coming in, and the adjusters were still just trying to get there. It's a little upsetting. And a lot of houses never saw that repair happen. And that's what they were cleaning up. Because you have mess like that. You have trash all over the place from disrepair, from damage like that. Eventually, when clutter happens and mess happens, then you got bad people that take advantage of that. Or it's just an unsafe environment. It's unsanitary even. It harbors rats, it harbors, disease. If there's a rusty nail out there and a kid steps on it, that's tetanus waiting to happen. So these people, Jody, Joey, and Tiffany, they're part of an organization, and not necessarily an organization, they just organized a bunch of people together, and they cleaned the entire south side of town. Tractors involved, just people involved. That's some good news. People talk about the difference between conservatism and socialism, saying that socialism is better because it takes care of the people. And I can see the thoughts behind that. But there's a difference between forced help and help from in here. This thing right in here that makes you want to go out and help somebody and actually help, that's called charity. And charity isn't bad. Charity, there's nothing bad about it, even if you accept it. I am very proud. I am one of the most proud people out there when it comes to accepting help. I don't like it. I don't like to ask for help, because if I can't do it, then I don't need it. Even if it's something that I can't do, like physically. If I physically can't do something, then I tell myself I don't need it. If it's something that affects my health, affects my well-being, affects the well-being of my kids, I have a hard time even accepting that help. That's just me. And it's something that I've learned in my later years. It's not bad. Accepting help isn't bad. And that's something that I learned from my dad. He would hate to accept help. It's just, and that may be a Latino thing. I don't know. But he would hate to accept help himself. Why would he need to get something done for him when somebody else could do it? My dad worked endless hours. He was a truck driver. If you ever driving on a freeway, look at the beams, the concrete beams that the road sits on. He drove those 40 plus years. He was gone sometimes weeks at a time. He would go take a load to Houston, drop it off, come back, take a load to Dallas, drop it off, come back, take a load to San Antonio. Everywhere that was building a freeway, he went in Texas. We wouldn't see him for weeks at a time sometimes. And he had a hard time. There's some stuff that, he as a father wanted to do, just couldn't do it. And he didn't want to ask for help. I got a little bit of that from him, admittedly. It's a weakness of mine, I know. But these people went out there and they cleaned up the city. That's what we need more. It's not about gentrification. It's not about this side is helping this side because they're better than us. No, it's about people doing this, uniting and helping one each other, loving one each other enough, loving their town enough, loving people enough that we're just going to go out there and try to make something better. Love each other enough that you go out there and do something better. Make it good for somebody else. There's a saying that I like to say is, be a blessing. Go out and be a blessing, because when you bless somebody, that is just straight out of here, out of your heart, and that plants a seed in them. And I'm not saying, I can go off on the religious tangent on this, but it's even more than that. When you plant that seed in somebody, that could possibly be a life-altering thing that they accept. It could change their lives. I'm sure you've heard of stories where one little good deed helped somebody become successful, and that could be that good deed. Whether that successful is them going out and starting a successful business, being self-reliant financially, or just being able to survive. You help one person out, it's going to plant that seed, and then pretty soon that person may want to help somebody else out. That love will spread. And it's not about this side of the tracks is nicer than that side. They're more well off. They're what's that word everybody likes to use? Privileged, whatever. No, it's about truly going out and helping somebody. You don't have to always go out and do physical, manual, back-breaking labor. Sometimes that help is just talking to somebody. more news. Let's talk about that. And I'm just scrolling down to see some news topics that I have here. Let's see. Any questions, by the way? I know I've only got 2 people here watching right now, and I appreciate y'all. I really do. Hopefully, eventually, this is going to have 100 people on there. Mind you, this is only my second live. And if you just joined me, if you haven't joined me before, never mind. There's just that one. They left. But let's see. Oh, here's a topic. Red wave possible with 2022 midterms. So I was going to run in 2022 for Congress. One of the guys that I'm working with, still working with, we haven't kicked up my campaign again yet for my local campaign. But I had to kind of call him out on this one. He said that there was going to be a blue wave. And in fact, a lot of people said that there's going to be a blue wave in 2020. That's quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. I really think that there was more of a red wave than anything. Could have been a little small wave, little small wave. But the Senate is still red. The House of Representatives gained red seats. Go figure. That blue wave that was supposed to happen, we're taking steps to go red. And the media is not covering that. They're saying it's all blue. There's still elections out there that are still doing runoff elections that, mind you, some of those voter fraud instances, those recounts and whatnot, could quite possibly flip the House red, all the way red. Majority red. Don't block me, Twitter, for saying that, But the House gained red seats, and I think that they will gain red seats more during these runoff. And I think the Senate is going to hold on to the majority as well. So quite honestly, a Biden-Harris administration with a Senate that's red and a House that's red may not be a bad thing. May not be a bad thing at all. So what'll happen then is, yes, they have some potential to do executive orders. However, Congress and Senate could overturn that. They could go to the Supreme Court, which no matter how you look at it, they're supposed to be neutral. But there's more conservatives on the Supreme Court than there are liberals. If Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were to do something unconstitutional, it could get overturned. What I do foresee them doing is stopping the wall. I do see that happening. I have mixed feelings about that. I am all for border security, 100%, all for it. That is a money pit, though. My goodness. President Trump says that Mexico is still paying for that through the USMCA, but it's a money pit. I don't see that happening. I don't see them paying for it. The original projection was somewhere along the lines of $5 billion is what he was asking from Congress, and I believe that the amount is up to $10 billion, and it's not fully complete. There's 400 miles built, over 400 miles built already, but it's not there yet. I could see them stopping that because it is a financial burden, unless we were to get them to totally pay for it 100%, and I don't see that. I think if there's some help, Congress steps up, Senate steps up, and actually does something productive, bipartisan, I think we can get that done. We maybe find different technology for that. But I do see a lot of people. You watch any news, you can watch a documentary on Netflix or YouTube. There's a lot of people that die crossing that border. The terrain is horrible, especially if they try to go during the summer. It's horrible. It's hot. They're unprepared because they go through the desert. They go through cactus. They go through rattlesnake-infested country, through coyotes. And I'm not talking about the coyotes that bring them over. They go through like the animal coyotes. They got to fend them off. And these are predators. It not knocking them at all, but generally the people that come over from that part of the country, that part of the world, I should say, aren't as large as the people on this side of the border. They're a little smaller. It's just genetics. So animals out there could see them possibly as being more of a meal than you or me. I'm a big guy. 6 foot, 50 pounds now. I was down to 235 before quarantine, but you eat when you're on quarantine. But these people are small. And if something happens to them when they're on the road, or when they're in the desert, when they're tracking over, something happens to them, they leave them. They leave them there to die. So yes, I can see why that is important. It's not just for border security, but it helps protect people. But at the same time, all this technology we got, all of this, I mean, we've got Microsoft, Google, Apple, Facebook, Twitter, these huge tech companies that could design something out there that's more of a detection. You've got the military that can detect where a shot is fired from without seeing the shot. They can detect all of that. Yet we're putting up these big, huge metal barriers. I think we could do something else. And I think it'll be safer for the people because they're going to try to climb it anyway or go under it. And there's hazards in that inherently itself. If that metal wall gets rusted and somebody cuts their hand, guess what? They're going to leave them there when they get tetanus, and they're going to leave them there to die. They may take their pack that they're bringing with them if they're bringing drugs over. Total different topic, by the way. But they're just going to leave them there to die. That's inhumane. Tired of seeing people die because of politicians. Whose fault is that? I mean, these guys that are sitting up there in office, they're fine. They don't have to worry. They're not getting deported. They're not crossing deserts. They're not stepping on big thorns that go through their shoes and giving them tetanus or getting bit by rattlesnakes. They're not. But they're making that choice for us. Now, I'm not for illegal immigration at all. I'm not. I'm against it. I think we should have another way around that. Detect. We do have the technology to detect when people are entering parameters. We also have the technology to check them out. The process right now to get someone naturalized or to get someone citizenship takes years sometimes. Years. Yet we can have an election where we count all the votes in a night, in a week, in a month. Millions and millions, hundreds of millions of people casting their votes. But we can't check the background, and we can't do security checks for a fraction of that. Why? Why can't we do that? The technology is out there, guys. Why? I mean, who's to profit? Who is to profit? I'm not profiting. You're not profiting over that. Well, I know that technology is out there, and I don't know why people are dying over this. Let's see. I got a comment here from Skyfall. I am late. What's up, homeboys? Hey, you're late. It's almost an hour in here, and I've been gabbing for an hour already. And since I'm gabbing for an hour, you know what? I'm going to take another drink of my Bang here. Hey, but you're not late. I'm in California right now, so it is only 9 o'clock. I'm from Texas, and, for me, it's kind of late. I should be going night right now because it's 11 o'clock back home. But since I do this at 8 o'clock on Thursdays from wherever I am, I gotta hang. I really gotta hang. So, but I was actually about to close on that. I'm sorry, Skyfall. I really am. I was just about to close with that. But in closing, I would like to say again, Unity before division. Love before hate. That's what it's all about. No matter if you're left side, right side, conservative, liberal, socialist, communist, whatever you are, unity before division is where it is. Take that wedge that is being driven down into our society by people who aren't affected by what we do, really, by people who don't live what we live through. Take that wedge out. Throw it back at them. That's not theirs. That's ours. They're giving it to us. Let's give it back. Take that wedge out of society. Let's unite. Unite with each other. Unite with one another, because at the end of the day, whether it's Donald Trump in presidency, whether it is Joe Biden as a president, whether it is Kamala Harris, whether it's Ted Cruz, if Obama finds a way to come back, Beto O'Rourke, no matter who is a president, who's still responsible for my bills? Who's still responsible for your bills? It's me, right? I'm responsible for mine. They're not paying my bills. You're not paying my bills. I'm not paying your bills. By all means, I got enough child support to pay that they get my bills too. It's us. We are the people. We run this show, not those guys. It's our show. No matter if there's voter fraud going on or if everything's 100% legit, no matter. It's our show, right? My show, your show. I am responsible for me. I am responsible for my kids. I'm not responsible for my girlfriend, but she still counts on me to be there for her. So I've got my circle of influence that I'm responsible for. I've got my family that I'm responsible for. These guys that are making our choices for us, they're not responsible for them. They may say, hey, if you vote for me, you're going to get $5,000 more per month on your check. BS. Puro pinche pedo. Hope I don't get blocked for that. I'm responsible for me. You're responsible for you. I am the most important to me right now, other than God. And you are the most responsible person for you. Let's take that wedge that they have given us, take it out, throw it away, and let's unite. Unity before division. Link to that shirt in the description here. My name is Andrew Alvarez, guys. I really appreciate everybody hanging out. I've had a max of 3 viewers, but I had multiples this time. Let's keep this going. Like, share, subscribe to this. Look for this video playback coming up tomorrow is when it's going to be uploaded. And then tomorrow I get to make the drive back from Cali all the way back to Texas. I'm going to love every minute of it. Love every one of you guys. Y'all have a good night.